good right here. Here we go. So hello and welcome to What the Fuck Happened to My Motorcycle. And today we're going to learn how engine components decided to just leave the chat out the side of my KTM 690 SMCR. So let's get into it. Brother. So the story starts when I'm just heading to work, cruising down the road at about 45 miles an hour, when all of a sudden I realized that there was a funky, really loud, and similar to like a bicycle freewheel sound coming from, well, between my legs. And I looked down and noticed that there was a hole in the valve cover. And I also noticed that hot oil was spraying all over my legs and burning the crap out of my pants. So I luckily pulled the clutch in, killed the bike, and was able to coast to a stop on the side of a 4-lane highway relatively quickly. I think the bike was maybe running for 25 seconds, 30 seconds at most before I pulled over, but this is basically what I saw. Oh, you know, just riding along and heard some clacking. I thought it was my exhaust and noticed all this oil all over the place. On the ground, all over. And then, oh my goodness. Like, what? 7,360 miles. So then after realizing that I was absolutely fucked, I decided to start the 4.7 mile walk home, pushing this motorcycle on the side of the road. So I made it about probably 2 miles in, stripped all the gear off, but every time I stop, I just continue to leak more oil. I mean, God damn it. Like, in the hills. And then once it was home, the confusion really set in of what the actual fuck just happened. What? Can you see this? What? What? Have you seen this yet? And to be honest, it took me a while to figure this out. This happened a couple days ago. But I think I narrowed it down to exactly what had happened. And yeah, it's not good. It's not good. This seems like a previous issue that could happen to anybody at any time, which is not good. But I took the bike back to the dealer, and that's where we'll get into Act 2. Now, I did think this was funny because I just had this bike at the dealer about a month ago, 35 days to be exact, and I just paid $1,400 to do the 6K servicing, which what involves in that is what you've already seen, and it's a giant ass list of going through every fluid, every nut and bolt, every piece of this motorcycle to make sure it's in tip-top shape. Also, they check valve clearances and do other things. Luckily for me, there was a bolt that broke in one of the side covers for the oil filter, and they had to replace the entire clutch cover of this motorcycle. So 2 places they actually opened this bike up. That's the first time this has ever been done on this motorcycle, and it's also the first time that I ever went to a dealer for servicing. You've watched me do all the rest of the servicings on this motorcycle. So, when you look at that and adding only 1,300 miles to this motorcycle in that time between that major servicing and this huge incident, it made me scratch my head a lot. Not to point fingers or anything, but it kind of leads you to believe a little bit. But what they ended up doing is actually finding the root cause of this issue, and I'm going to try to explain this to you in the best way I can. I'm not a mechanic, and there's much better resources out there, and I'll put them in the description below so that you can hunt these down and actually dive way deeper into this. But to give you the general basis of what this ended up looking like was the automatic decompression system that's located on the exhaust or the cam gear for the KTM 690 LC4 motor decided that one of the bolts wanted to back itself out, create cuts in the valve cover as it spun around, and then just decided to fall out. So that proceeded to then take one of those weights from the auto decompression system and shoot it out the side of the damn valve cover. What's funny is that TRX Tech actually does a really good video on a Yamaha cam and shows really what the decompression system kind of does in that version. But if you want to look at Jurassisaurus Rex's video, he explains really good on the actual KTM or his Husky 701 of what this system looks like. Now, this is something completely and totally new to me. I've never experienced anything with it. The whole purpose of the auto decompression system is it's basically two weights that sit on the end of that cam gear. And when the bike is just starting those revelations, what happens is since those weights stay to the inside, they kind of leave this little thumb or little metal piece up that then keeps that exhaust valve open just a little bit so that it relieves some of the pressure so that this giant single cylinder can turn over easier. This makes sense on like a bike you got to kickstart, and I guess on, you know, the big LC4 single cylinder, because that's got to have a lot of freaking compression. But for it to have this detrimental of an outcome, I don't get it. But once the bike is started, those weights actually spread out and due to centrifugal force stay on the outside of that cam gear so that then the valve system can open and close normally for normal operation. So yeah, new to me, and I'm learning a lot and in all of the wrong ways. So what's unique about this, and what I ended up doing, is reaching out to ADV Tech Moto, who had, ADV Tech Moto, who had this exact same issue on his 2018 Husky 701 Enduro, was that Husqvarna ended up having a recall for this exact issue of a bolt and the whole system coming off of that cam gear and firing itself out of the valve cover. Now, this recall happened June 21st of 2018, and I'm wondering, because my bike's a 21, it was probably built early 21 or late 2020, you had a couple years to fix this. So, really? What's going on? Like, come on. But other people have been experiencing this issue. 2 others on YouTube. And not to scare anybody, but of course, you know, I've got 7,300 miles on this bike. I change the oil every 1,500 miles. I check nearly everything before I ride. I even took it to the dealer and spent dealer money to have them look through this bike. And of course, when a lot of you in the comments have been going for 15 to 20,000 miles without an issue, I get the issue at 7,300 miles. I mean, whatever. FBI, open up! So then what's going to happen now? Since I haven't had my motorcycle for now almost 2 weeks, probably starting on the 3rd week on Monday, since today is Friday. Well, what's nice about it is I was expecting to pay a shit ton of money to get this fixed, but KTM has been kind enough to cover it for me.
We're sorry.
Well, thank you, KTM. I actually do appreciate that, because I would have lost it if I had to pay for this issue, because this seems more like a manufacturer and engineering and an issue that you've already had in 2018. So thank you. I appreciate that. But at the same time, I've been without a motorcycle now for 2 weeks. So that makes in total 4 weeks, 1 month of this riding season of where I live in Chicago, which is like nearly the whole damn riding season. So that sucks, right? But for you guys out there, what does that mean? Well, 1, this issue can happen to you, and I don't want it to happen to you because 1, it could cause a lot of issues on the road. I mean, just imagine if some oil landed on the tire, if it decided to lock up. If you go down because of this issue, that is not good. I am thankful in my situation, as crappy as it is, that something like that didn't happen. But I want to make sure that you stay safe. So I guess the next time that you guys check valves, the next time you do a major servicing, or the next time you bring it to a dealer, ask them to check these bolts, because it seems like it can happen. I don't know why. but it can. Apparently there's a fix, but it's not on my bike. But then that brings the next question. Do I still have confidence in this bike? And to be quite honest, I don't. I don't have confidence in this KTM 690 SMCR or any other KTM with an LC4 motor in it. Because if this issue is common from 2018 with a recall up to now 2021 on my bike, then what happens if you're out in the middle of nowhere? What happens if I decide to ride to Tennessee and ride the Dragon and I blow this thing up like halfway down there? I can't walk it home. I am screwed on the side of the road. Same time, what if I'm at the track? What if I'm going 100 miles an hour into a left-hand corner? I start to get on the brakes and realize that pretty much the whole side of the motor's blown out, leaking oil all over the track. I'm putting not only myself, but other people in danger. This is crazy to me that a manufacturer will charge this much money on a giant single cylinder that they've had in production for such a long time and to not fix this issue. I think I'm just upset because I haven't ridden a motorcycle in a while and I'm looking outside at these nice sunny days and I can't ride. But I'm going to settle down. So just remember that this can happen. I mean, anything can happen. This isn't just a KTM thing. This happens with a lot of different manufacturers. Engines just fail, right? You know, they're moving pieces. They're just metal, right? And that can happen to even the best engineered objects. I mean, hell, it's not uncommon, right, for a manufacturer or for just anybody to have similar issues. So the number one thing is make sure that you stay safe. So in this situation, if you do run into it, which I hope you don't, you can at least stay upright. You can come to a complete stop, that you don't actually put other people in danger on the road, at the track, or anything that may cause damage to people. Because bikes are a lot easier to fix. As much as it sucks and as much as it costs money, I would rather put that into a whole new motor than into my body itself. So for my bike, I don't know what's going to happen. I know they got to replace pretty much everything on the top end when it comes to the whole cam gear and cam set. I don't know if they're going to have to do a timing chain. They're going to have to flush that oil probably 2 or 3 times because there was enough metal shavings in there to basically build a whole nother motor. And I just don't have confidence in this motorcycle anymore. So what that's going to do, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to buy a new bike. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of this bike. But it's tempting to just not have one anymore with the amount of issues I've had previously. Some of them self-inflicted. This one definitely not. But this one the most expensive and time-consuming and, well, scary. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to complain about it because that's what I do. Just sucks. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something. And if you want to learn more about the automatic decompression system that you might have on your 4-stroke or specifically your KTM 690 SMCR, look in the description below for a lot of the links that I'll put in there. You'll see other people's videos on there. You'll see other explanations of similar systems on different manufacturers and different bikes. And you can really learn more about how this system should work and why it probably failed on my bike. And if you've had experience with this, I would love to hear it. So leave it in the comments down below and let me know how this happened, if this happened, or if you're worried about it happening to your 690. So I guess, until next time, remember to keep riding, unless your shit breaks.